You said you'll be interested in fighting Jake Paul. Do you think Jake Paul is better than Demetrius Andre?
No. No worse.
All right, who is better, Benavidez or Charlo in your opinion?
Both fighters are great. Both fighters are great fighters. I can pick one because they are good fighters.
Jermall, do you think Canelo's move to 168 means that he don't want no smoke at 160?
He's scared. Where you at, Cinnamon? We've been calling you out for a long time. It's that time to show up. Show up. Get the people what they want to see. The people want to see us fight the best in the world. We feel like we the best in the world. Come on, man. Stop running behind De La Hoya. Stop doing all that, man. All right, go to Mexico and fight Canelo at his house. Run it. Will we not fight Canelo at his house? Mexico? We will go to Mexico. We love Mexico. We from Texas, bro.
Well, shouldn't that fight happen in Cowboy
Stop
Stadium?
playing, bro. We want to go to Mexico. We love Mexico. We vacate to Mexico. We got a house in Mexico.
You would go right up to 68 for the
right now.
Fight?
I'm more than 68 right now.
Breaking news of Canelo Alvarez fighting Jermall Charlo more likely than Makabu on Cinco de Mayo, according to ESPN, Mike Coppinger.
Cruiserweight or against Makabu. I'm hearing that it's much more likely that he's going to fight Jermall Charlo on Cinco de Mayo. There are talks right now for that fight.
Now, like always with Canelo, there's good news and bad news that comes along with it, attached like a package. So let's start off with the good news of Canelo supposedly, possibly, fighting Charlo next instead of Makabu. I mean, it makes all of the sense in the world for Canelo to do so, because that's the fight that the whole world have been calling for the past 7 to 8 years. And when you factor in all of the elements at hand, it's right up Canelo alley to fight Charlo next, since out of the fabulous four of Canelo's time, Jermall Charlo looked the most vulnerable his last fight out of the bunch. And it ain't no secret, Canelo always fight fighters coming off their worst performances. Kovalev, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Triple G, Caleb Smith, after Robin Ryder, and the list goes on and on and on. So it makes sense for Canelo to fight Charlo next, since Jermall Charlo looked like complete crap against Montiel. If you go back to my videos of Jermall Charlo last fight against Montiel, I told all of you guys, both Canelo and Benavidez will knock out that version of Charlo. But even then, that version of Jermall Charlo will be 10 times more competitive than Makabu will ever be against Canelo Alvarez. I mean, Charlo can party his life away, like he's doing anyway. Under any condition, Charlo will put on a better fight than Makabu will ever do against Canelo. However, if the Charlo that fought Deryachenko shows up, if the Charlo that knocked out J-Rock Williams shows up against Canelo Alvarez, oh, it's a wrap. Charlo is beating Canelo without a doubt. And that's the risk Canelo is not willing to take. He's afraid of that lion that's in Charlo, not the one that's drinking all day and night. I'm talking about the hungry Charlo that used to sleep, breathe, and shit boxing, that wanted all of the smoke, like he did with J-Rock, so on and so forth. Not this version of Jermall Charlo that's disconnected with reality and the world. But again, even then, Canelo is not willing to take the risk, even though he will still get the full credit if he beats Charlo. Therefore, let's talk about the bad news at hand. Now, this news sounds all good and dandy, but we all know it's too good to be true, since that's not how Canelo Alvarez moves. It ain't no secret, Canelo is the pioneer of the NBF league in the sport of boxing. Therefore, I won't believe it till I see it, because when I checked on Charlo Instagram, he's over here going back and forth with Caleb Plant. And we all know, if the Canelo fight is on the table for Charlo, he won't even be entertaining Caleb Plant at the moment in time, knowing the fact that Jermall Charlo have been calling out and chasing Canelo for the past 8 years. And would you believe, the European assassin Canelo Alvarez have been ducking Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andre for the past 8 years. But that's beside the point. The main thing here is every time Canelo Alvarez is about to make a legendary cherry pick in order to make up history, like he's doing today with Makabu or Makabi, however you pronounce his name, no disrespect. No one knew Makabu till Canelo chose to cherry pick him in order to make up history, like he did with Rocky Fielding, Avini, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's been a pattern here. Every time Canelo selects a legendary cherry pick, all of a sudden, we hear Canelo name being in the mix with all of these great fights. With Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade, Beterbiev, you name it. Only for Canelo to let the public down, once again, on some DJ Khaled. Another one. Another letdown. Because Canelo ends up selecting the same old cherry. Therefore, if you haven't got the memo, if you don't know, now you know. Essentially, it's a marketing tool for Canelo to promote the cherry he's going to fight in Makabu. We have seen this story unfold too many times. As many times as Canelo let his own fans down by stating, and I quote, "I really don't care." That's directed to the Canelo fangirls that defend Canelo for ducking. Canelo himself telling you decafs, he really don't care. He's proud of being a duck. Man, it's a terrible time to be a Canelo fan, especially when Canelo makes his own fans look like a bunch of fools. With that being stated, to all of you Canelo fangirls that continues to lie and claim, oh, Canelo sent Charlo an offer and Charlo turned it down. Well, if that's the case, why did Canelo Alvarez vacate his WBC title to his mandatory Charlo at the time? Explain to me how Canelo Alvarez got stripped of his WBC title when Charlo was his mandatory and the mandatory was due. Why would they strip Canelo of his WBC title if Charlo turned down an offer? That's obviously a rhetorical question, because we've seen what happens when a mandatory turns down an offer from the champion, like Ryan Garcia did with Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia is still a nobody, an IG champion, the TikTok and Twitter undisputed champion. But one thing Ryan Garcia is not, is the WBC champion of the world. That's Devin Haney. Ryan even lost his mandatory position. Therefore, to all you decafs, if Charlo turned down an offer from Canelo, then he wouldn't be a champion today, just like Ryan Garcia. In fact, he would have lost his mandatory position as well, just like Ryan Garcia. But we all know, Charlo became the WBC champion of the world, just like Devin Haney did, just like Lennox Lewis did, when Canelo created the NBF Witness Protection franchise. That's what Canelo legacy will be remembered for. Ducking, cheating, taking steroids, which that's essentially being a duck on steroids. Also losing then robbing people with the judges' scorecards in his pocket. Last but not least, being the pioneer of the NBF League in the sport of boxing, the No Black Fighters League. With the facts being laid out, if you disagree with any of the facts I mentioned, please point out exactly what I said you disagree with. And let me sincerely wish you great luck, because facts always trump emotional opinions.
Canelo jumping up to 190. I haven't got any trainer's opinions yet on him wanting to fight.
I don't know why he would do that. Why wouldn't he just continue to fight the top fighters that he hasn't fought already? But if he's doing that, I'm gonna say it's a duck.
You think it's a duck from David?
If you moving up there, and you could at least say, okay, I'm gonna take one more fight with a Charlo or one more fight with a Benavidez, and then I'll move up. But if you just gonna move up without fighting them guys at all, it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
My second.
Did you see Benavidez over the weekend, and how do you think that fight with Canelo would look? Because it seems like that's a lot of fight people were asking for.
It is a fight that everybody asking for. They're not asking for him to go up to cruiserweight and fight some dude that we don't know.
Makabu.
I don't know nothing about no Makabu. Know nothing about no Makabu. Who the
WBC champ?
I don't care what he is. I'm telling you, I don't care who he is, but nobody know who he is. And like I said, it's a orchestrated greatness, bro. Like, stop. Stop with it already, bro. Like, you're undisputed. That's great. But we want to see you in a real fight. So the fight with Benavidez, I saw Benavidez on the weekend.
Max, before I let you go, just Canelo. It's not Charlo, it's not Benavidez, it's not Beterbiev, it's Makabu at cruiserweight. What do you think of that, Max?
I think good for him. He wants to go up to cruiserweight. But if you want to keep doing that stuff and you're going up above, then I don't want to hear it. Fight Beterbiev. And
Canelo got to stop picking his own opponents, man. He needs to be in there with Charlo, both of them. He needs to fight both of them.
Charlo.
He needs to fight both of them. Then fight that guy Benavidez.
Are they saying Benavidez, though?
Benavidez. Fight both of them. The guy get ready for Benavidez. He's going to fight those two brothers, then he fight Benavidez. He did good his last fight, but the guy he fought was like soft. I want to see him fight one of those guys.
So drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.